lot of the stuff that you've been going over, I haven't even thought about it, right? Even like on the builder side, that builders aren't even building, they're not building smaller homes no more. They're just building bigger homes, which is why also prices are what? Higher. That makes a lot of sense. Honestly, I didn't even think about it like that. That's true. And now that he said that, I'm like, oh shit, every single new builder, like Toll Brothers, like was it DR Horton or even Lennar, even if the home is like three bedrooms, I mean the house is still gonna be like 2,000 square feet, right? There's no more 800 square foot homes being built, at least. Yeah, it's kind of insane. And then when people buy homes, like let's say I'm put like Campbell, or yeah, I'm gonna put Campbell as an example. People buy these lots because I mean, obviously, houses used to have fat ass lots, tiny ass homes. People are tearing down these 800 square foot homes and building like a 2,500 square foot home on top of that on that lot in those cities. So they're literally just they're paying premium for the lot and then also also building on it. It's kind of crazy.
You're talking about
Yeah.
prime real estate. People are
Uh,
going to want to be in those locations. There are properties that are built there in the 60s and the 50s that just been sitting there. And even if they're renovated, it's like they're not up to design. And we are millionaires in Campbell and we can afford to just knock it down. And once I put a new property on here, it's going to be worth $2 million. The price per square foot in Campbell is ridiculous, let alone the actual value that the home is bringing you, and plus the lot size.
yeah, I mean, he's also chatted about like what it costs to build. I mean, I think we all kind of know that it's been more expensive to build than any other time. Like lumber, concrete, cement, like I mean everything's more expensive. So I mean that's not a surprise in itself, but I think the biggest point that he did bring up was, at least for me, was they're not building smaller homes anymore, more affordable homes in these areas, right? Where they're gonna build. So that really could change. That would changes the whole market if they were to build homes that were half that size, right? Because one, if they build, there's more houses on those lots. I mean, in those developments, more affordable. I mean, more people could move there, but that's not the demographic they're targeting. So it doesn't even
Right.
matter.
I mean, there's plenty of land, and even though property is landlocked, there's plenty of ways to use the land that we have available to us and shorten the size and the space of the property so that we can build smaller houses, less than 1,000 square foot, so that way we can house more people, less people being priced out of the market. Um, people can people can actually buy if prices were cheaper, if they were building smaller properties. They're building 3,000, 4,000 square foot properties worth 1.7 in Dublin, California. They're building expensive homes. They're building in Alameda. It's just extremely expensive for a two bedroom in Alameda and the properties in Lennar. You're still gonna spend 1.6 for a two bedroom, but that's the type of client that California brings. It brings in very um sophisticated buyers, as well as high expense, or people that want to live life on a I don't know how to explain it without saying kind of like brass, but it's just a higher standard of living simply.
Yeah. I mean, and nobody talks more shit about California than people who don't live in California.
Yeah, I mean, everybody got something negative to say, but California is it's considered its own country at this point with how much money it brings into the world. But it needs to, I think, policies need to be in place so that the system of California doesn't fail itself. We were talking about policing in Stockton, policing in Oakland, and that the number of police officers are significantly lower than it should be, and especially with policies around how you can protect yourself in California itself, it makes it less desirable. And then On top of that, you have investors that are interested in putting money into this market because it's California and because there's such a huge upside that the policies alone scare investors to make them not even want to participate in an Oakland, in a Stockton, where the money could significantly make life and the standard of living much better. The government is funded by taxpayer spending. And if there's properties that are severely undervalued, where's the money going to come from? Schools are bad because of the lack of funding. Prices of homes are low because policies that are holding people stuck into the properties itself. People are not able to appreciate their homes by fixing the property because the people that are living in the property don't value the real estate and demolish it anyway. So it's what's the point of keeping up with the property? There's just so much negative factors as an investor when it comes to California itself that make it less desirable, but it's a powerhouse for the world. And so I think how that policies must change. But it must sound crazy coming out of my mouth.
Now, well, I mean, it is crazy, but I mean, there's the way that investors make money in California, right? It's not really based on cash flow, right? It's based on the appreciation and how fast real estate in California appreciates compared to other states,
Talk that talk, man. Talk that
right?
talk.
I mean it's as simple as that, at least in California. California will always be desirable, whether right now people are complaining about this governor, people are going to complain about the next governor. People are always going to be complaining, right? People will always want to live in California. California will always be desirable, which is why real estate in California is always priced higher than any other state, significantly higher.
There are only a few states that come to mind where people around the world want to make sure that they land. It's
Right.
California, New York, and Florida. Of course, Las Vegas is a part of that conversation, but Las Vegas is not New York. It is not California. No one wants to stay in that desert heat for too long. It's like I want to tip my toe in here and get up out of here and maybe buy some in real estate for rental purposes, maybe. But the places that people are interested in are heavily populated and the politics play a huge role in the real estate for sure. So for California specific, because we're Californians, it just it makes more sense for the politics to shift with the times. We we know that crime in California is rampant, and we know that because it's not even like the inner cities that are going through it by themselves. It used to be like the LAs of the world, the just like San Francisco or Oakland. Now you're hearing the Stocktons or the Antiochs and the Pittsburghs. It's where are we going to draw the line on decency when it comes to protecting and serving the community? And it can't just be the fact that we don't have the budget. We're California. How we don't have the budget?
No,
I
dude, you
guess it
stop.
is by city. It is by city, of course, but it's just like if we care about California, it's like the least of us represents us. And if we're not protecting the weak links, they make for a huge representation for our society. And that's the end all be all. Everybody wants to talk about, how I hate how these conversations go, man, because they just paint a bad they make it difficult for me to talk about stuff, but it is what it is. Wherever there's crime and wherever there is, politicians that enable crime by enforcing policies like defund the police, it makes it hard for these conversations not to pop up because it's always going to be a spillover. I hear on the news all the time about certain communities getting affected by bad actors that are not even from the neighborhood. They'll just be there pouring or spilling over, and it is what it is. That's the nature of lack of policy or lack of you know policing, and it does affect real estate.
And I mean, we talk about investors a lot, but I mean, no, not even but. California is not becoming a very, I mean, and the work that you do, I mean, that's why investors love you and stuff, right? But it's really, really hard for investors to find a good deal or for people wanting to invest in California, right? Because of the policies in place. We were going to talk about, or maybe we still are, we're going to talk about Sacramento, right? But in Sacramento and California, after those policies passed, I mean, short-term rentals in California are pretty hard or to have like they're hard to make money with, at least in California, compared to other states.
And why is
Um,
that, man?
you're taxed like crazy on them.
Mhm.
I mean, and I think this goes about. I mean, this pretty what a short-term rental is. Anything less than someone stays there for less than 30 days, right? But just the insane tax that Californians have to pay if they decide to make their investment in Airbnb or just a short-term rental in general. It's
Right.
insane. So why would someone want to go buy property in San Luis Obispo, right? Or like in Pismo Beach, Santa Cruz,
Santa
San
Cruz.
Francisco,
Right.
like places like that. Santa Barbara, right? Why? San Diego. Why would they want to do that with with these policies? I mean, it'd have to be a really, really, really good deal. And same thing we went back to, let's go back to what we were saying earlier, right? People buy for the appreciation they're going to get in the future, not for the cash flow right now. But, you know, you're getting taxed like crazy right now. So you have to see if it's worth it or not.
It's
If you
the
have to
it
check
goes
it
back
out.
to underwriting the deal. It goes back to knowing what your exit strategy is, and if you can have a very sound, bulletproof investment plan for your investors. Like what you're talking about for Sacramento. Not long ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, I found me and my partners, we found a deal in Sacramento that was worth, I don't know, to us it was worth about 9 million, maybe 10, but it was almost about 100 doors. So where are you gonna find? Yeah, look, your eyebrows went up. Where are you gonna find $100,000 per unit properties? You're not gonna find that. That was a dilapidated. I got the video. I was actually showing the property on one of my live streams earlier this week. I was showing the walkthrough of this property, and one of the units were burned. It was like running at a 60% occupancy. They were barely collecting rents because it was such a downtrodden situation. The owners weren't paying attention to it. The owners actually ended up giving the property to their children, and the children weren't paying attention to it. How rare is a find like that? That property's worth $20 million north of it. It's like 25. We underwrit the deal, and the problem about California, even though it was in Sacramento, is that California has such a stigma when it comes to putting your money here because people want to get in and get out. They don't want to have to worry about politics and policies affecting their investment strategy and all of these things that make it less attractive. Are there still deals like that in California? Of course there are. How hard is it to find those deals? Very hard. And do I come across deals like that? Sure. Like that one, no, very, very hard. And you have to be ready to pull the trigger on something like that. But I say that to say investing in California doesn't have to be a negative thing. If you have a plan, a strategy, clear intentions are mapped out, just know what you're getting into. Sacramento is not like the Bay Area. But then again, if you don't know anything and you're thinking about California and you're just an investor in America, you're thinking California as a whole, garbage, which is not the right way to look at it. You have to know your pockets. You have to know where you can invest safely at. You want to know where your rent caps are going to be at the worst case scenario, because there's a rent cap in the state and then there's a rent cap on this on certain counties. So you can't escape the state. But what you can do is make sure that you have a high enough rental escalation that it makes the deal worth its while. And then you have to know your eviction laws and all these kind of things. But it doesn't mean deals are bad. It just means that California needs to loosen its grip.
Yeah, no, for sure. especially with when it comes to investors, right? Because we do want to focus on more individuals purchasing, their primary residence, right? But at the same time, with how things are going right now, what we were talking about earlier, it's cheaper to rent than it is to buy. But with a lot of things going to shit, who is someone gonna rent from if no one's buying anything, right? If things staying vacant because no one's buying anything, right? So it all goes full circle in what we're actually talking about and how California does need to loosen it up a little bit because nobody's winning in the situation, not the renters and not the investors either.
I mean, you're talking about something that's heavy. I mean, like you said, that who's gonna buy the properties? Who can afford to buy those properties? Who's gonna rent those properties at the new adjusted rent rate? Typically, I would say, and this is me throwing a talk point that I usually give around buying duplexes, just buy one, rent the other out. But that strategy really works when you don't have to worry about that strategy really works well when rents are not extremely high. You have interest rates that's really high. You have properties around you that rents are really high. And then by the time you buy it, whether it's 3.5% or 20% down, you're still spending a significant amount of money. And I was talking today about strategy. And if you don't go into investing with these properties with a strategy, you're not really a landlord. You're just managing debt. You're managing a liability because at some point you're going to want to sell this property unless you just want to rent it out indefinite. But if you can't sell this to the next person at a price point where it makes sense, it begins to be a problem. But I want to get back to Sacramento. I know that we can talk about rentals all day, but Sacramento is actually becoming a real talk point right now. You're mentioning about the World Cup and a spillover happening with regards to rents continuing to rise. Right now, we're kind of stagnant, but as you were mentioning, the stadium being built, more job opportunities, and then the World Cup spillover with rents coming up. It's getting higher. Property values are probably going to shoot up over there for a moment. I mean, what does that look like for an investor, and what does that tell somebody as they're shopping around right now in today's market?
Well, I think Sacramento might be a nice place to buy, right? I mean, it's a big city, right? Someone young might actually look to either buy there or move there just in general. With that new stadium being built for Sacramento Republic, to be like a 12,000 seater, right? So they're going to be able to host concerts, and they have a pretty decent soccer team who actually gets a lot of support. We also have the Golden One Center, right? It's already downtown, with the Sacramento Kings. Literally just like 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, they're actually pretty damn decent. So Sacramento's seeing a lot of activity like on the entertainment side, but also on the real estate side because Sacramento's still in it's still technically affordable and you're making a California wage, right? And maybe if you're looking to buy a multifamily and do it the old fashioned way where you buy um one or like a 2 or 3 unit property with
It
three and a
still
half percent
works
down,
out there. Yeah.
it still works out there compared to it's not gonna work if you buy in San Jose or somewhere in Alameda, right? I mean, it can if you find the right deal, but it's
Or if it
not
works
as
for your
easy.
pocketbook. I mean, look, some people we'll look at a deal and here this is something I was talking with you about the other day. We were talking about cap rates and how it just means like the strength of the value of the area. Another version of looking at a cap rate could be simply what your rate of return is going to be if you spent that money up front. So if a property is worth $1 million and you spent $1 million on it, the cap rate is worth 4% or 5%, then you can expect to return 5% annually every year. But that's not a huge rate of return. But somebody with a big bag would drop that on that property because they're not just banking on that annual rate of return, they're banking on appreciation. So it's like the demographic to who's buying the property changes. I'm sorry, the topic of whether you're spending your money wisely changes depending on what kind of bankroll you have. But yeah, you were saying like getting a duplex, getting a fourplex in these areas, it's not like somebody's jumping up and down like they got a huge deal. unless they have a lot of money to drop on that property so that they can make some cash flow, or if they got it at a good price, did like a BRRRR strategy, rehab, renovate, and hold on to refinance later on, or kind of like just sell it. But it's not just like anybody can just go and grab and make a whopping or killing out there, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of like that TikTok strategy that people were bringing up a couple of years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was literally blowing up. And I'm still getting it right. Like I want to buy a duplex. I want to buy a duplex. I want to buy a duplex in these areas, right? Let's say Sacramento, Stockton, wherever it is. I want to buy one, so then I live in one side and then rent out the other. It works in those areas as well because the county limit, the county loan limits, it's still in that area of purchase price, right? If you want to buy, let's say, like in Alameda or Santa Clara County, you can't buy a property with 3.5. You can't buy a multifamily with 3.5%, 3% down. Can't because the loan
The price
limit,
is too high.
the price is too high for the loan limit. Exactly. So you get priced out just that from that TikTok strategy right away. Because in those areas, like, and that's something that people don't realize is that there's there's loan there's loan limit there's county loan limits. Sorry, I'm stuttering like an idiot, but there's county loan limits that price you out of these things, right? You're gonna have to put more money down to be able to qualify to buy a home in those areas as well. So that's where it also gets confusing for people. And
Yeah, man. We were talking about cap rate and that the cap rates are really, really low. And that means that the price of the property is really, really high. You're not buying the property for what it is today. You're buying for what it could be later on. All that to come back and say people can't even afford to buy these assets the traditional route.
I mean, it's just a good conversation to have with people also that I mean, because they're good ideas, right? I mean, I'm not saying these TikTok ideas are bad, but it's not as realistic as these TikTok
Make it
CPAs
look.
and realtors are talking about, and they're trying to make it seem like it doesn't really shit doesn't really work like that. It doesn't work like that at all.
Oh no, well now
There's
you're
a
gonna be the
lot.
bad guy. You killing people's dreams. What do you
Hey,
say to those guys?
I say there's definitely other ways we can go about it, right? If you want to go about it in that specific way, let's find something. Let's have Rodrigo find you something in the area where you actually qualify to buy a multifamily with the least amount of money down as possible.
Look, I think people will appreciate, regardless if they know it today to be true or if they find out later on that the truth is something that a lot of people are not willing to give today because the truth is nasty. It's ugly. It sucks. And if we say something that's very truthful, we end up looking like an asshole. If I say, "Hey, look, it's probably not the best fit for you to buy in Oakland right now in this situation." Well, somebody might think that I'm staring. And of course, that's illegal. No one wants to do anything like that. But if you're telling me that you want to invest in this area and it's because of a strategy that you feel that is the best opportunity for you, well, make sure that you know your law. Make sure you know that you can't raise the rents a certain price tag or you will be you be subject to legal action. Do you do you want to go and buy in LA and raise the rents on somebody that's living there for 10 years? Because you know if you do that, they're probably going to have an attorney on their end and you might not own that property for much longer. So it's I mean, look, everybody says that I find it funny because I look on YouTube and in the comment sections people are always blaming realtors. Realtors are greedy and they're always commission hungry and all this stuff. I'm like, you think that realtors did this to the market? You think realtors increased the property values by 30%? You think realtors did that? Not the stimulus, not the trillions and billions of dollars that came into the market. You think realtors did that? Not the interest rate going down to nearly 2%. Not the realtors did that.
I don't think people realize how interest. I don't think people realize how much interest rates actually drive the pricing of your home that you're about to put up for sale. People do not realize that these 2% people can qualify for hundreds of $1,000s more if the rate is 2% compared to 6%.
Look, people are having a
It,
hard time selling right now because the rates are at 7%. There are buyers that are looking at what they're about to pay on a month-to-month basis and thinking, I cannot afford, even though it's the same 600,000, the same that same $600,000 looks totally different on a 7% interest rate versus a 3% interest rate. Shit, people will sell their car right now. They'll give you their left arm if they can get a 5% interest rate right now.
hey, they might be able to get one if they talk to me. I don't know.
Hey man, look, reach out, man, because Rodrigo knows what to do.
No, yeah, like I mean, at least where I'm at right now with Envoy, we have that lender paid 1.0 buy down. So
Mhm.
we'll buy down your rate, um, and we'll help you get a 5% rate for the first year, right? So, I mean, there's ways around it. I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, 5% isn't 2%, but it's as low as we're gonna get it for a while, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
take advantage of it.
Well, you got it, man. Rodrigo, we want to make sure that we have your email accessible. If you could shout out your email and your phone number, man. I want to make sure that we actually start putting in our caller contact information in the in the post as well.
Email is my first name, Rodrigo, the lender at gmail.com. Super easy. Phone number 408-221-0542. Super easy.
Let me see something real quick.
And I don't think we've talked about like dual income families. Like if two people are making not minimum wage, but like 65K, $70,000 each, which is honestly, I mean, it's about average, right? If you're working a 9 to 5, and you went to school or to college, right? That 70K now turns into $140,000. That's insane. Not insane, but it
It's a significant boost in your expenditures. Like, you don't have to worry about holding the weight of that mortgage by yourself. Just knowing that your partner is helping you to cover this. By the way, when it comes to real estate, you should want to only spend up to 30% of your income anyhow. So, $40,000 a year, if you're making $140,000, of course, you got to think about taxes and making sure that you have money left aside outside of, having a good time and what have you. If $40,000 you're able to cover your mortgage, you're in great shape. And you can be able to buy a property in California with that income. I'm not saying $140,000 is the bottom line. I'm saying that if you have dual income, the opportunity of buying a property becomes more real.
more real. I'm not gonna say it's like it's not easier, right? Because I mean you have to work for it, but it's attainable that way,
That's
right?
right.
It's not just $70,000; it's $140,000 that one they can qualify with, two pay for it, right? So
Yeah.
you're saying it's a lot more attainable that way.
And people, you were talking about it earlier, Rodrigo, that people have to come into shopping for property with the right intention. If you're thinking about buying your primary residential property, and you're thinking that that's going to be your investment strategy for the future, you're going to have to realign the way you look at real estate. With 7% interest rate environments, you're going to have to ask, what is this property for? Is it for my family? And can I see my family living here for 7, 10 years? This isn't just your 4-year buy and sell. It's going to raise 5% every year. By the time I sell, I have something to walk away with. This isn't that kind of a situation. This is a situation where you buy knowing that you're happy with the property that you're getting, because you're buying a home. And if you can stay in the property for 7 to 10 years, perhaps 15 years, you don't even have to sell it. You can always rent it out. But if you can own that property for a long period of time, you will find that there's going to be a lot more equity on the other end, opportunities for refinancing, as well as the fact that you don't have to worry or panic that there might be a flux in the market because it wasn't for Today, the plan wasn't for today. I have clients that bought in 2008 at the peak of the market and decided to sell 2021, 22. They made so much money. They made like $600,000 from the time they bought it and sold it, and the market still went down. So it's not about today. It's about what is the home for you? What is it going to do for you? They lived in that home as a primary residence. They didn't let anyone rent it. They just managed their asset. They sold and got a larger property. They traded up. So is that you? Is this your story? Do you buy in this market? And if you do buy, can you manage that mortgage? Not everybody's able to buy, but you, the person behind the camera that is able to buy, do you wait because you don't find what you are looking for? Or do you buy the thing that's singing to you, the thing that makes sense for you because it's in front of you, because it presented itself and you can afford it? Not just, well, I can, if I do this side job and I'll probably make ends meet. No, can you afford it? And if you can't afford it, don't let something that you know that you can afford pass you by.
Thing I want to go over, right? And it's literally going back to what we were talking about. But people say, boomers bought their home for like pennies or like peanuts. Like they weren't expecting their properties. They bought their property that's $70,000 to live in their home, right? They didn't expect their house to be worth $1.5 million now, right? They're selling after they lived in their home for decades, right? So, and that's also the way you got to think about it now too, right? You're buying your house for, let's say, $600,000 in trades. What's going to happen in 20, 30 years, right? Your asset is going to appreciate. That money you're putting in monthly, you're going to be able to take that money out, right? It's a piggy bank. But you have to think about it this way. You know, there's no shade to those boomers that bought their house for $30,000 back then. Now they're selling it for $1 million. They lived in their home for decades, went through what they went through, right? Oh wait, right? Still managed
They
to stay
went
in
through
the
those
property.
market conditions just like the rest of us.
Exactly. And they're able to sell for top dollar now. But they waited. They were patient and they got the benefits from being patient.
Hey, you're going to get a lot of hate today, Rodrigo.
Hey man, I'm just being real, man, because at the end of the day, and it's good to see the good in all those situations, right? Oh man, like
Yes.
my parents got it so easy. Like they bought a house for $30,000. Like now I gotta pay $500,000 for that same house. Like boo hoo, bro. Like so, like sorry. That's just what we're gonna complain. Like that's the market. That's how the market is today. We can't change it. You know,
Yeah,
we
it's not,
cannot.
no one's saying that we can't buy these properties. We can afford that. They couldn't, I mean, circumstances. It's all circumstantial. They were probably making significantly less than what we're making today, even though rates the rate of increase for minimum wage has not stacked side by side with the S&P 500 or real estate increase. It doesn't really matter. The fact is that that $100,000 home that they bought still was expensive to them in their time. It was still expensive. Who wants to buy $100,000 home if they were paying 15% interest rate?
Exactly. Like when I first started my career as a loan officer, I got a sheet of leads to call from title, right? And it shows I asked, okay, anybody over an 8% interest rate, right? I'm calling. Oh, I bought my house back in 1990. I'm due to pay it off in a couple of years. Why would I refinance right now? Right? Um, Dude, they have like a 9% interest rate. They got it back in the 1990s, but they're about to pay it off. Do you think they want to refinance? No, probably not. But they bought a long time ago, and I mean, you're right. I mean, the rate of the way the minimum wage has been going hasn't really stacked up, but
But that
it was a
minimum
lot
wage
of money back
still
then.
It was a lot of money back then. I mean, minimum wage is not the rule the rule of thumb. It doesn't mean that this is what everybody should be aiming to. This is just a talk point. You use the minimum wage to say, oh, has the basic McDonald's job served to take care of families? No, no one's saying that either. We're just saying that incomes haven't increased because people should be earning hundreds of thousands of dollars rather than trying to aim for the $30,000, $40,000 job. We know that these jobs are stepping stone jobs, but the reality is most people have minimum wage jobs, and that's totally okay. It's just the fact that that's not the rule of thumb. That's not the American standard, I should say.
But the thing is, you could still buy if you work
With
at
the
McDonald's and at
Yeah,
Panda Express, you can still buy, right? And we can
yeah.
go back to the whole thing, dual income household, right? If you're working 40 hours per week and you guys, let's say you guys both, like one person works at McDonald's, the other person works at Panda Express, right?
You can buy a home
You
in a
can buy a
good
home.
condition market. Yes.
Exactly.
think I think the standard that we're talking about, the minimum wage conversation changes when home accessibility escapes like environments like right now where we have inflation with real estate prices, we have interest rates that are through the roof. Is just like, okay, this is no longer a real conversation. It's not just me and my wife in a minimum wage situation that can make it even afford this kind of a lifestyle. That's why it's becoming an alarm bell in today's market, is because when your minimum wage is priced out and there are working folks in the market, they are the they are the oil to the engine of the society. They are what make things go smoothly. When we start to panic, when we start to feel uncomfortable, the world starts to feel afraid, because history is important, and history shows that when people are starving, panic sets in and people start acting crazy. And that's just history. I
That's
mean,
true.
oh my goodness. I don't like TikTok today. I don't even get on TikTok, but I guess you don't have to be on TikTok to look at TikTok, because I'm on YouTube and people are talking about TikTok, people crashing out. That's the word they use for food stamps, SNAP
Snap.
program and all that. I don't know if a SNAP, man, I'm from
Hey, that's what it's called. That's what it's called. It's called Snap. Oh, Snap. Shit.
That's crazy. I'm just joking, man. But yeah, no, it is called SNAP. I'm not too familiar. All I know is food stamps because it's just from growing up, man. My family is from LA, so all I know is the word food stamps, but I
I mean,
guess
I
it
think
is
that's what
called SNAP.
that's what everybody calls them, food stamps, right? But
Mhm.
that's just what I've
Mhm.
been seeing on Twitter and TikTok. They call it Snap, because it's
Mhm.
less what's the word? It's not racist that way or some shit like
It's
that,
not
bro.
racist.
Or
How
something.
did
I
the
don't know.
word food stamps become racist?
I don't know,
He's
man.
got to.
I don't know. I
Oh
don't
man,
know.
I guess it's a stereotype. I guess, man, where are we going with this world?
I don't know. But I don't even know where the fuck we're going with this conversation.
Are we posting this? This is crazy.
We should. It's good.
I don't mind. I
But
think it's
it
funny.
really it is funny, but it's realistic. Or we're just realistically speaking, like
I think
they're
it's
cutting
funny,
that shit
but
off.
I think it's funny that the conversation around the word food stamps is racist. I don't think it's funny about the reaction that we're having with the government shutdown and how it's affecting people, because people are really being reactive and are being aggressive. It's what good does it do? But perpetuate a stereotype. What good does it do?
Yeah,
Now food
that's true.
stamps is racist.
Dude, I know just saying the word, I'm like, dude, I saw on TikTok and I clicked on a comment and be like, it's called Snap. That's racist. And I'm like, all right, bro. I mean, I didn't say I
You
wasn't the one
lost.
commenting it. It was just I was like, all right, man, like that's
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
What was I even gonna say? Shit, I even lost it. Damn. And it was good too.
Well, don't say food stamps again, man, because now it's gonna be racist. So not,
Yeah, it's gonna be
they say you know
racist.
better, do better. No,
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah, so I just said
I don't believe it. I'm just joking. I'm just pulling your leg, Rodrigo. I don't believe that.
I mean, I don't think it's racist. Shit. I'm a person of color. I'm brown, bro. Like I'm Mexican. Like shit. I don't give a fuck.
I get, I get why I don't want, like I said, it's easy for me to just say words like, "Oh, it's not racist. It's just it's ridiculous," and all this kind of stuff. But it'd be naive for me not to acknowledge what the reality is around the conversation. I'm not silly. I'm not naive. I understand what the stigma is. I understand why it's a stigma, but it's unfortunate that we've become hypersensitive to so much things that we have to change change the way that we use words that are not offensive because they become offensive.
No, and honestly, like when it comes to even just Snap, right? Like let's call it like go back to like Snap. And we were talking about it, even with rent being more affordable than buying a house, that being taken away actually makes it more difficult for a lot of people to even just go day to day. But I did see something, and I don't know, it's gonna be crazy, but I saw someone say, they're taking Snap away from my mom who really needs it, right? She's gonna die without um getting her EBT card. And someone said, why don't you just go help your mom? And I'm like, damn. Like she said,
Yeah, so look, I think the conversation it's a tough one. Number one, I'm not a social worker. I don't know how the
I don't really know
implications work
either.
with all of it, but from history, what I learned and what I come to know is the reason the reason why people are stuck on these programs is because the incentives are largely greater than working a minimum wage job. What the costs that come with life, it's better to just not work than to work a minimum wage job, which is a bizarre phenomenon. And then if you have somebody in your household that does work, it can potentially take you off of that service. So naturally, you say, no, I don't want no one to work in this household because you're going to take away my opportunities. Opportunities. The world is upside down when it comes to social programs. So it's like when we're trying to have a conversation around it, just know, even in your best intentions, you are wrong in the eyes of their perspective worldview. It's like the Democratic and the Republic ideology, not ideology. How do you put that into perspective? I think it's worldview. It's, if you're a Democrat, you believe in these core values. If you're a Republican, you believe in these core values, and you're always going to be wrong as an opposing view. There is no, if I say abortion is wrong, well, I just lost a huge portion of clients because that's a Democratic worldview. And California is a Democratic state. Most people in California, because of statistics, we can believe that most people in California have that shared worldview. That's just how it works. Now, it's not to say that that's the absolute answer. It's not that there are Democrats that don't share a different opinion, but that's just how it is. So it's kind of like that. It's like very stigmatized, where if you talk about anything that's progressive, going back to SNAP, anything that is self-motivating, anything that's self-encouraging, you're gonna get hate comments.
Yeah. I mean, and this is just a conversation. It's not even, going into depth about it, like agreeing or
Ain't nobody
disagreeing with
on here talking
people.
about pull yourself by your bootstraps, but you got some shoes, strap them up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not.
No,
I
but
ain't trying to
you
look
are
for no
right
smoke,
though. I mean,
nothing.
why would someone want to struggle, like work and struggle instead of just like struggling without having to work is what kind of people tend to do. Which it makes sense, right? Why would I want to go work like 20 hours or like 15 hours somewhere per week and then get the same SNAP benefits? Then I can just stay home and not work and I get some SNAP benefits or whatever other benefits they get.
It's living in a socialistic society. We are in democratic nation or democratic state, and with that, prices of everything go up around us, limiting opportunities, and then dependency on the state. And there are other states that minimum wage is not a problem for them. Why is it that you can go out to Dallas or go out to any of these other states, Oklahoma, Tennessee, you name a state, and have the regular minimum wage and still make a living? Because the cost of living is not breaking your neck. The weight of the cost of living is so heavy in California, you become a dependent of the state. And therefore, when stuff like times like this occur, the people are ready to snap necks because they've become dependent. But
I mean,
don't look my way, man. Like I said, I ain't no social worker. I don't know nothing about.
we're we Radrell and I are not political. We are just talking on what we're seeing right now. We're not political. We don't really want to dive deep to. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I don't want to talk for you, but um, I'm trying to be stay away from being as political and or very political as possible.
Yeah, I figured that. I figured that being myself is very hard to do in today's world. I have friends that want to interact with me and want me to be myself, and they said I'm very standoffish. Rodrigo, I'm gonna be real with you. You're probably a person that gets to see a side of me that most people don't get to see,
That's
but that's
dope.
because the way that we communicate, it's very familiar. It's like whether we grew up in the same backyard or not, it's like we speak the same language. But
Exactly.
largely, a lot of people don't share this background. A lot of people don't share what it is that I'm trying to say. Sometimes it might sound offensive, so therefore I have to keep it very sharp, cookie cutter, so that people can understand where I'm coming from, that it's not offensive, that I'm not being rude or anything like that. But in a real way, it's better that I just stay true to the nature of who I am. Not that I'm not. I think what I do on a day-to-day basis is me being myself. I'm not around people often, but when I start to bring my core values into the conversation, it kind of pushes people away. And it could be something that's very simple and very normal, as just me saying I am a Christian and I hold my Christian values at a high regard. It's hard being a Christian in a democratic society. It's easier to be a Christian in a more Republican society
That's true.
because conservatism has a lot of roots to Christianity, and that's just by nature. And then being progressive and being open, it changes that conversation wildly, I should say. But yeah, I mean, they say stand for something or fall for anything.
That's true.
So
That's true. Like for me, at least, I try not to be too political, right? Especially with the way things are now these days. I like to have the conversations that we're having without arguing, right? And we can talk about it without like arguing about it. Like we actually have a real conversation about things. So it's
without having
nice.
our fisticuffs. Yeah, man.
Exactly. So it's nice. Even if it's political or not, we can have a regular conversation without like, I mean, let's just say we were to like disagree on something. That's cool. That's cool. We'll talk. That's what we're talking about. Like, we talk about things. It's nice.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and you don't get to meet people like that often, at least
Yeah.
now.
Now I was gonna say, I think it's harder to meet people like that in California than it is in other parts of the country.
Yeah. Well, I went to
And
Pittsburgh. I was just in Pittsburgh, and people, it's a, it was way different.
mhm.
It was way different, and even like we went to a restaurant. I'm not gonna say which one, but even the people next to us were just having a conversation, and I mean they were actually turns out they were from California. They moved to Pittsburgh. They had family in Pittsburgh, so that's why they moved. But they are very. It was the people that I did not expect to be accepting of me, right? Over there, they were the nicest people ever, right? If I were to run into them maybe here, and this is just from past experiences, right? I'm not saying this happens everywhere, but I don't think I would have had that same interaction, um, let's say here in California or in like Texas. I don't know. That's just
I think we've dipped into the world of politics
too
unknowingly, but at the
much.
same time, at the same time, it's just a worldview thing. Like
Mhm.
when we're talking about Snap and how having a conversation around dependency on the state can be a problem, like how we're facing it today, and why you shouldn't be dependent on the state and you should be self-reliant. You know, there's other things that are being socially engineered into our minds that we unknowingly absorb. And this is the last thing I want to say about politics on my end, at least, so that it doesn't be a conversation for too long, because then you guys are gonna think this guy's wild. I mean, I've only left the state a few times, and I've only left the country maybe a few times. I've been to Mexico and I've been to South America, and so the little exposure that I do have has been really healthy for me to look at the world in a more optical or optimal. It's given me more ammunition to look at the world in the lens of what's important. And sometimes we don't know that we're getting propagandized to. And because we think that it was only happening in the 60s. Like there's so much prejudice and it comes from, I don't know, just lack of awareness. People still think that I'm getting into those waters. It's deep over here.
No, well, here's the thing, like, and no, and I think I know where you're going with this, right? Because the thing is, I think I'm in the same boat, right? America is not the only country that's racist. I'm sorry. Like that is
No,
that what
it's
you're trying to
not.
say? It's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's really not. And I'm gonna be honest, like it could be worse in other countries. If you're not from that country, right? Because
You could be
America
the
is a melting
same
pot.
skin color as somebody else and still be a racist. Don't believe me? Go to Africa. Don't believe me? Go watch the movie Rwanda, Hotel Rwanda. Don't believe me? You don't have to believe
It,
me, but
no, exactly. No, exactly. And this and I'm gonna give you a family experience, right? And if I have family on here, I mean my family knows, right? Like um and I have older cousins, right? So so at least for my dad's side, right? Like half of them, or I want to say 80% of them are, they're way whiter than me, right? They're way whiter than me. They have colored eyes and stuff. And then just a couple of us have brown skin, right? And I found this out like when I went to Mexico like 2 years ago, right? My cousin. And I was like, oh crap, look, I have another cousin that's brown like me, right? And this is me, I'm like 21, 22 years old. And he said, yeah, and he spent more time with my grandma than anything than anyone that I know. Said grandma always looked at him differently compared to all the other cousins, right? And it happens between your family too.
it happens between your family too. I went out to meet my family for the first time in South America. And I mean, it's funny to me today, but at the same time, if I have the same values that I have today, then the conversations are a little bit different because I know it's coming from a real playful place, and it's a phenomenon for other people. But this is me, who I am today, and I'm always gonna be who I am. I can't just pretend to be something that I'm not. If you don't know, Rodrigo, my family is from Guyana. Guyana is similar to, if you want a world perspective, it's similar to Jamaica or Trinidad.
No, yeah, I know where it is.
It's
I
Caribbean
played
islands,
FIFA.
and there you go. And so, I mean, this is my story. I mean, it's nothing huge, but it's like you think that racism is only a white and black thing. Well, your own people can be racist to you. Imagine somebody in your own family, because you speak a different dialect, saying, "Oh, that's a Yankee boy." It's almost sounding like you just called me a white boy. Like I don't know what you just said to me, but the conversations are just different. And it's not, and like I said, sometimes the conversation is not so much intentional to make you feel less than or make you feel like an other or an outsider, but it's an identifier. If you go to Jamaica and you're white, you're the white boy. Period. You're the minority in their country. What are you going to do? Cry racism? They look at you and think that you're a greater position. They're just identifying you. Whereas me, I'm a black man and I go to a black country and I speak in this dialect. they're thinking of me as an outsider because I don't speak the same dialect. But at the same time, they're not saying that I'm less than. They're just saying that I'm another. It's just an identifier. Now, I could be trying to give them benefit of the doubt, but it's still things we got to deal with, you know what I mean? So it's don't think about so much about what you're going through even though you are going through something real. Personally, think about the world and how much better opportunity that you might have here than being in those other places where there aren't many jobs, where the only jobs that are available is mining, sugar plantation, rice fields. You want those jobs? They got those jobs here in California. You're not working them. Somebody is though. See,
Yeah,
that got
no,
deep,
dude,
huh?
no, but the thing is, you're right though, because like, dude, no, and it's a good conversation to have because there's a reason, and I say this because I have family who had, immigrated from, like, I'm a first generation. I was born here, right? But my family came from a different country. My family came from Mexico, and there's a reason why people want to immigrate towards the United States, right? And and I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say, but at the end of the day, like,
Oh man, don't
there.
hold your hand.
No, I am. Because I mean, maybe we don't post that, but and this is just the way I think about it, right? Because my family came here, and I agree, I agree with, being against ICE, right? I don't like ICE. I don't like the way they treat people. I don't like the way that the president has been, like, sending in the National
Handling the
Guard to do.
topic.
It's just very, it's not professional, right? But the protests that were happening in LA and even in other cities, I
There
don't
was
like the
protests out
way.
here. Yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't handle the protests well, blocking just existing. You couldn't even get to any kind of
to work.
fucking nowhere.
And that's what I don't, right? And I understand people saying we need to make a point, right? This is the only way to make a point. Is it? Right? Is it? No, like like make a noise, like go into the Capitol or something, that's just what I think, right? Because these other people, we want them on our side. You think they're gonna like us if, I mean, it
We're
really isn't about
disrupting
liking
their
us, right?
flow of life. You're
Exactly.
stopping people that should be your allies from
From getting
existing.
to work. Exactly. And for me, it really is like, hey, we're Mexican. I'm Mexican. I'm proud to be Mexican. I like, dude, I'm brown as shit. Like I'm brown. Like I can't hide it. I'm Mexican. I love being Mexican. That's something I'm proud of. But we're waving the Mexican flag around, and that's something that I don't. And that's where I'm getting a lot of hate. That's where I'm gonna get a lot of hate. We're waving the Mexican flag at a protest to stay in America. There was protests back in 2004 and 2005 that my parents were a part of, right? Going on, they were going on. But guess what? And it was the same thing, immigration shit going on back in 04, 05, even 06. And parents would go protest. People were not waving the Mexican flag. They were waving the American
It's a
flag.
little weird. You're talking about something. I can understand your perspective on how much you could ruffle feathers on your community, but I mean, I feel like being that I have a unique relationship with the idea of deportation and the fact that my mother's from LA, from Watts, and then my father's from Guyana, South America. It's almost like I could relate to what this conversation is and how the impact can be on a family. Number one, because Rodrigo, if you don't know, my dad got deported. So this is not a
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear
stranger
that.
conversation. Life happens, but this isn't a stranger conversation for me because it doesn't matter about like the why around the deportation. It's the impact that deportation has on people's families and long lasting trauma or long lasting impact that that can have on a particular family. You're taking away an income that was making that family move in a certain way. You're stripping away that existence of that experience. And it's not that people that are coming over the border are not working. No, they have to survive too. And it's not like they're going to get this assistance and be dependent. And that's not what their motivation was to come over here. Their motivation was to have opportunity to work. So you're taking away a household income of somebody that was contributing, whether it be by taxes or something, but making money flow. You're taking away that from a family. So I have a unique relationship with it. Like I understand, that's why I said food stamps. I understand that conversation because my family's from Watts. My grandmother was in the projects. So I understand what social work was supposed to look like. I understand because m- my the projects is a social program. It's period. It's not. It's a social experiment, I should say. You put people in a box. You tell them this is where you can only stay, and that's that. It's a part of the redlining. It's a part of the Black California experience. California is unique in that way. Most Black people are stuck in these pockets because of redlining. That's just California is unique in that way. My family's not from LA. They came from the South. Most Black people in America come from the South. So they came here and got put in a box. And now what you see is just this compounded effect of what America or California created. It's a weird relationship. Most I don't know. I don't want to say the community wrong. Like Stockton is not just Black gangs. Stockton has Filipino gangs, Korean gangs. There are different communities that were forced into these pockets because of social programs. Japan in San Francisco was put into concentration camps. California has got a weird relationship with other cultures, especially Mexico. California just
Very.
got a strange relationship with all of us.
Yeah. And it's a complicated conversation to have, right? Because, people don't like to hear certain things. Um, and I
Hmm.
get why, right? The one thing, and this goes live, bro. The one thing that also it irks me, bro, because it just, okay, I agree, with like, I don't like, having, if someone is here and they are committing crimes like, like crazy bad stuff, hey, go, those are the people that we should be removing, right? But like you were saying, people are here working, and a lot of times they're working, even though they're here illegally, they're working legally. They're paying taxes
They're
with their
paying
ITIN
taxes.
number. They're paying taxes, and let's say still getting paid on the table, right? Guess what? They still got to go
That
eat.
money still, yeah, that money still
That's
goes into the tax system. They have to spend
exactly,
that money.
exactly. So I
All
mean,
right, look,
it's complicated. No, no, and okay, and this is going. The one
you're
thing that
making
irks
all
me
the
is
right
like,
points, man.
no, yeah, and no, the other thing, and this is the big thing for me, right? People and people tell other people their business when they shouldn't be telling their business. You should not be going online and saying that my dad is going to work in my car and he's not taking his work truck because he doesn't want to get stopped by ICE. Because guess what?
You just
You just told them who your dad was. You just told them. You just told millions of people. You don't think the government saw that video? You don't think they can track
Publix.
down your IP address or who, like, your account? You don't think they can find out just where you go to school? If I can find that out, you don't think they can't? That's the one thing that pisses me off, and a lot of people have to be more careful about. Because then,
Public
yeah,
service announcement.
you just got your
PSA.
dad deported.
Watch your mouth on the internet.
Yep. And I say that in the nicest way
With
possible to
love.
try to.
With love. There's it's just a phenomenon. I think what we're going through socially is we're watching people give away information for free where they had no reason to even say anything, exposing their household, exposing their relationships, exposing just every small detail. And it's such a regular phenomenon that people think that is normal. I remember, and because all of this is fairly new for just an experience, when MySpace came out, people used to say, don't tell your business online. Stop posting your business online. Facebook came out, people continue to say it and harp on it to a place where I don't go on Facebook to post about personal anymore. But then I have to go and look at the history of what I've ever said on Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, I said that? Delete. But whatever I'm deleting, it's going to exist there still forever. So
Exactly.
and it doesn't matter what age you were. You could have said something when you were 18, 16, 15. This information is never leaving. And I was in high school when I was using Facebook talking silly. And I wasn't even talking reckless. I was just being like a teenager. But imagine the folks that were of age, 20 years old, 30 years old, and probably still are posting to this day, giving their information away for free for likes and clicks.
People are literally
It's sad.
people are
It's sad.
tearing their own families apart, and I say this, they're doing it themselves, right? Because they're freely giving away that information. They're tearing away their families apart like that. For likes, for sympathy, you know. And as much as I don't want that to happen, and I still don't want that to happen, people are actively fueling ICE with
It's
information, and
That's
it's
right,
not
man.
cool, right? And if you guys didn't know, you can buy you can buy a house, you can buy a home in America, even if you're not a U.S. citizen. All right, so if you have an IT number and you want to buy a
I
house,
did.
let us know. Let us know because we will help you. We will help you.
Man,
We will help
that
you.
was a bar. That was a bar. That was
Yeah,
great. Hey man,
yeah.
let's take a break on that note, man. This was great. I don't know what you want up or what you don't want up,
We'll
but
figure it out, bro.
we will figure it out, man. It was some
That
topics in here,
shows
man.
we talked about real estate for like 20 minutes.
And we went in for an hour on politics.
But it was good though.
It
I
was
mean, it
fun.
wasn't
It
like
was
and
fun.
it still has something like you said, it has something to do with real estate. Real estate,
Yeah.
politics and real estate go hand in hand, whether we like it or
Go
not.
hand in hand, man.